YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly every single week. Mate, we're going to start this off with the spicy one. Tachyon is here, and it is top tier in Ingram's hands only, likely. We're also playing against Chimera. We're going to be using the ever so powerful Tachyon Transmigration, which negates an infinite amount of cards as long as it's within the same chain, and then returns them from the field back into the deck. This card is absolutely nuts. If the opponent's a fool, they're going to play really hard into it. Now, by watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these videos. Even if I'm on in the background, I appreciate that immensely. And with that all said, Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Maxi in the draw phase, incredibly disrespectful. We do have a draw and Lockbird though, which we could further turn off that Maxi, so neither player could add cards in the deck to the hand for the rest of the turn. We did not use Ash Blossom to negate the Fright for Patchwork. We have Codal activating to search our deck as the Ash negates. I would say potentially it might be better to negate the Sword Knight, even though they then have access to the Sword Knight. You're kind of making a gamble here. We're going for the draw too, and we had no good play that we want to do because the Nightmare Apprentice has to special summon to search, and we're under the effect of Max C. So we're ending with just a draw and Lockbird. Can Galaxy Tachyon lethal through just a draw? Let's see what happens. Off the top of the deck, we have Maxi. We're going to start off with the Infinity Dragon summoning itself from the hand and from the deck. We're going to summon a Spiral Dragon. We're going to rank this off right away into a Divine Golden Dragluxion, which will activate on summon to search our deck for the Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Primal. We're going to hit them with the Droll in Lockbird. We're going to use Tachyon Primal to summon onto our side of the field on summon activating, and we're now going to not be able to search because of the Droll, but we're going to use the Dragluxion to further go into the Galaxy Tachyon Dragon. Now we're going to equip the Satellite Dragon. If we can get this into the graveyard, we could change the Galaxy Tachyon Xyz into over 10,000 attack. But then our damage is halved. We're going to use the Spiral Dragon to reborn itself back onto the field here, and then we're going to go into a Galaxy Cypher Blade Dragon, detach the Satellite Dragon, pop a card on the field, as we now use the Spiral Dragon to change all our other monsters into level 8, as we now go into a Draglubion. Untargetable Draglubion, come forth and summon from the extra deck a Numeron Dragon, which will gain the ranks of all the cards on the field, becoming 1,000 times the total rank, being 18 times 1,000 for 18,000 damage. Damn. We have the opponent going first again, but this time there is no Max C. We're going to Ash negate a Fright for Patchwork Mate, and we're not going to use Call by the Grave onto that Ash Blossom. Ain't no way. What are the forms of disruption here? The Diabel states that your opponent must set cards before activating them, but you could very simply just set and activate. But if you set a card to activate it, when a card is set, I could then use this effect. Its trigger effect is you could target one card you control plus one card the opponent controls and destroy them. So when you set, we could destroy it. That is a hard once per turn, one form of disruption here. You have the Sword Knight, which states that if a monster effect is activated on the field, only then can we banish it to negate. And then we do have the Codal, I believe. There's no Codal engrave, actually. We have the effect of the Chimera Fusion, which could pop multiple cards in the field through a Guardian Chimera. That's going to be about triple forms of Disrupt. And that's about it. Let's see what's good. Starting off with the Swords Child summoning itself plus a body from the deck. This is a hard Ash. You want to Ash this effect in the hand, and it's so ashable that you want to be using anything and everything else that you have to fake out their Ash instead, to bait it out. We're going to Guardian Chimera play right now, going to the double poppage. As you can see here, the 3 disruption. This is one of the 3. Guardian Chimera on summon, going to be chain link blocked from being ashed itself. Ashing Guardian Chimera would stop the destruction and the draw. It could also maybe draw into a hand trap here. So we're down to 2 disruption as this will be resolving. Grabbing a Nightmare Apprentice, reborning Nightmare Apprentice. We're going to randomly draw into a Codal, wipe away 2 cards on the field here. Nightmare Apprentice searching for a Sword Knight. Scooping. We scooping. That's a scoop. Let's hop into game number 3. What's good? 7th Ascension. We baiting. Huh? People don't play this. Rank up Magic, the 7th one. What you want to do with this is you want to draw it. You must draw it for your normal draw in your draw phase to then win the duel. How do you draw in your normal draw phase? Well, the 7th Tachyon states that after you add a card, you're going to return a card from your hand back in the deck, but you're not going to shuffle. You're going to put the card on top of your deck to draw it next turn. Are we actually going to do that? Are we going to make it? If we Magna Hut, it shuffles our deck and that play is dead. What? We didn't put this back on top of the deck. I don't understand. So the play I would think is you put this on top of the deck, and then through the effect of Regained, if you have a Lubellion, then you would have to make sure you not shuffle your deck with the Lubellion. This states that you put the card on bottom of your deck without shuffling, and then you draw the 7th Tachyon off the top of your deck in your hand, right? That's the combo, but we didn't have that play. We're going to Schwarzschild some for the deck, a Spiral Dragon, as we further go into a Drag Luxion, which is now going to shuffle our deck. So while we talk about our forms of disruption, know that the Tachyon Primal is another form of disruption. The Transmigration, if you control a Galaxy-Eyes monster, you can activate this on Chainlink 2 or higher, and if you control a Galaxy-Eyes Tachyon Dragon, which we do, you can activate this from your hand. And notice how this card is not a hard once per turn. So the Tachyon Primal will be summoned onto either player's field to give us a second copy of this card, both being activatable to negate everything in the Chainlink, and it's going to return anything that was activated on the field back into the deck. Now, the downside of this card, it does not work on Spell and Trap effects, but it does work on Spell and Trap cards. That would be a Spell and Trap card activating from the graveyard, this would not negate, but this will negate a monster effect no matter where it is, but only shuffle it back in the deck if it's on the field. So that's double disruption with double Tachyon Transmigration. Now, I have to familiarize myself with this card as I have not been playing it. This states that you activate one of these cards. If you control a Galaxy Exceeds, destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls whose effects are negated. So they have to be negated and then you destroy them, okay? Target a Tachyon in your graveyard, add it to your hand, that's trash. Target a dragon number in your graveyard, special summon it in defense. Okay, is that really a form of disruption? We do have the Hardbinger, which will be able to negate a spell. So are we talking about triple disruption here? Let's see what's good. Tachyon Primal being summoned to our side of the field, searching for a second copy of the Transmigration. Oh, it's to recycle the Transmigration. Oh, thank you. So it actually is another form of disruption. So we'll Transmigration, then add it back to the hand. So Quadra Disrupt. Apprentice, we're going to negate the Apprentice and then shuffle it back into the deck you go. Just like that. Kotal's going to be discarding to search our deck for nothing. Now, we're not going to shuffle it back into the deck as we're just simply negating. Double disruption left. We're going to Tachyon Spiral, return the Transmigration engraved back to our hand, but it's only activatable if we control a Galaxy Tachyon Dragon, and we're about to get super polyed. If we get Fuse Away the Hardbinger and the Tachyon, we go from double disruption to nada. No disruption left. Let's see. Discard. Yep. 0 disruption. Got him. And this super poly is why you would use the Spiral Destruction to reborn your Tachyon back in the field in case you have any other Transmigrations in your hand that were wanting to be activated. Uh-oh. Tribute Zone for Baphomet. Okay. Surely we're not lethaling off of this, right? Surprisingly, a lot of people don't know this, that Chimera has a super big lethal play of not destroying your monster by battle, reducing it to 0, and attacking into it 3 to 4 times. We're going to be going into our Baphomet with our Chimera Fusion. On summon, we're going to send from the deck to the graveyard. The Baphomet will trigger to reborn the Apprentice and grave back in the field. The Gazelle will trigger to add an illusion monster. We have already committed to a normal summon. Grab our Diabels, Baphomet Reborn, and on summon, we'll be searching our deck. We already did that effect though, right? Yeah, on summon already did. We're going to be reborning the Kotal with the effect of the Master Tau being sent from the deck to the grave through the Baphomet. We're now going to use the Chimera Fusion to fuse away into 5 bodies. That's 5 attacks. No way. Flame on! Attack number 1, 600 damage now. Reduce! Attack number 2, 3100. Attack number 3. Attack number 4. Lethal damage. You can't have your monsters in attack position against Chimera. Or that happens. you gotta summon in D. I don't know what to tell. We could have summoned that in D. We could also summon the Tachyon in D. It's gotta go in D. Normal summon Veiler, which is required to have a spellcaster or illusion to even activate the Tails of the White Forest to search our deck for the LZ. LZ is a great Ash negate. Negate the LZ. Wow. That completely clapped White Forest up. That's insane. We're going to summon Lurie. Lurie going off into a Requiem. Requiem's going to get Ash Blossom, surely. Or not. We're going to hold the Ash for something else instead. Like Ash didn't get fingered, right? Did we finger an Ash? I don't understand why we that was like a great Ash. And now we're recycling that great Ash. The Ash comes back to me. Serenir sent from the deck a Lubellion. To battle we go. Take out the Veiler. A reason to hold Ash against a control deck that you know is a control deck is to stop Max C instead. Because we know the control deck's not making massive one-turn kill plays anyway. So if we instead ensure that we could brute force through whatever field they make, that actually may be the better idea. Dead. Elzette can't summon because she has to send a spell trap card from the hand to the graveyard. Wow. Literally any spell trap card would have just been ashed anyway because it got recycled by the M7. Damn. We're getting controlled. Surely we have lethal damage here, right? Yeah, let's just get out of here. Let's hop into another duel. I think I incorrectly had their win already. So there you go. 1 point to you. Let's hop in a game number 2. Sylveon summoned, searching for the Tails of the White Forest. Tails searching for our Elzette Azamina. Elzette Azamina special summon from the hand. We did not Full Loss preemptively. We want to ensure that they commit to an extra deck or deck summon before we use it. Do I need to count the disruptions and even explain what they're doing? We got negate, banish, negates, pop multiple cards. It's actually, when you count them up, it doesn't really seem to be that much. It's just 4 disruption plus a max C. Now, our disruption being Baron DeFleur and Little Knight are completely untargetable. If you wanted to go into an engraver play, equip the Requiem to then force out one of the disruptions, you can't even target the Baron DeFleur. Lubellion, search for our Druid Swarm, which could help break the field a little bit. Tracked, search for Lurie to reborn it from engrave after discarding it. Sure, max C it up. We can't stop that, but we may want to get some Bystials out before they draw too much. No, it's fine, we'll just wait. Reborn. Does not have a monster in hand, so the Sinful Spoils cannot go into Guardian Chimera unless we have that monster. Requiem summon from the deck. We're going to use the Druid Swarm, banishing the Rasala Go. To the banish you go. Now we have a monster in hand to use our Guardian Chimera summon with, as we're going to use it right here, right now. Yep, pop 2 cards in the field. Guardian Chimera is here on summon. You ideally want to chain link block this so it does not get negated by an Ash Blossom, otherwise you pop nothing. To pop 2, draw 1. We're going to be chain link blocking with the Diablo Star, a really good chain link block there. We're now down to triple disruption. Druid Swarm can't even target the Baron DeFleur nor the Little Knight. Sylvia is going to be jumping off the field in response to being sent to the grave. We now have just Baron DeFleur and Little Knight, and now we have Ash in our hand because we drew it off of Max C. Serenir, banish away the Sylvia here. Baron DeFleur says, negate, as we're now down to double disruption left. I think we're running out of juice. Are we dry yet? Engraver is here. We're going to use the Sprite Elf, reborning the Engrave sequence. To battle we go. Now we're down to 1 disruption, just the Ash Blossom. Requiem equip, we can now send a card on the field to the graveyard that's not the Baron de Flores. Get rid of the Sprite Elf. We're going to use the Track to fuse with our hand and field, going into our Lacrima. Well, when are we ashing? We can't really ash unless we try to do some sort of Beatrice play. This can be an M7 or, yep, it's an M7. M7 will target a card in the field or in either player's graveyard, adding it to the hand. We're going to target our Fua. We trolling, yep. We're just adding that back. I mean, what can we really do, right? We could try to deck them out. 10 cards left, 10 more special summons. Yeah, we could do it, right? Burn for 1,200. So, oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to kind of try to maybe deck me out. That's not going to be possible. If I Veil or Negate, oh, it would like Summon, Selene, Reborn, Access Code Talker into Star-Lord, Typhon. That's what, only like 4 or 5 summons. Let's spin back. Darradurn having a good time, and that's all that matters. Because while you're having a good time, there's a chance your opponent could disconnect. Yes. Let's now speed this up. The Baron de Flor cannot pop the Typhon. 3,000 attack or more cannot activate no matter where it is. To battle we go. Wipe it out. And with over 11,000 damage on the field, even though we had a body blocking, it's game. Let's hop into game 3. Yeah, the Typhon win rate keeps going down. We have Senjin equipping itself into the back row to activate to summon itself plus search a monster, and the Ash will negate all of that, but we're going to finger that Ash to negate. I don't think so, mate. We still have Bell, Thualos, and Max freaking C. Thualos will, of course, not be drawing per summon from the back row, nor the hand, as we grab that Golem, but the Max C will. We didn't want a Max C. We have the Golem activating to summon for the back row. Now we hit them with the C into the Ash. Negate? No, did we finger the Ash? I'm trying to click the band. Yeah, it's currently fingered. So we fingered our own Ash, thus it is a dead card in hand, and we ended on 0 disruption. We can't use the Ash. It's negated. Lubellion, but it's okay. This is a control deck that should not be performing lethal damage. But we're at 4,000 life. You're gonna tell me that with no disruption and only 2 bodies on field, we can't push for, no, we can't. Okay, to the battle phase we go, summon the Magnahut, Regain's gonna trigger, return back the Lubellion to draw a card, Magnahut triggering to grab back a dragon during the end phase. Sure. Wipe away that Golem at 2750, too large and in charge as we main phase 2, go into our Fiendsmith plays. Let's speed this up. Moving the Close Heaven into the Requiem, into the Engraver from the deck. We're going to use the Requiem equip onto the Engraver to then send the Senjin to the graveyard. Or end our turn. Wow, okay, we don't even want to Baldrake into sequence. We're chilling. Wanted Seeker in the end phase. Ghost Bell negate because you could theoretically add a Diablo Star from your graveyard to your hand. It may not make sense because there's no Diablo Star in there, but you could Chainlink 2, destroy Diablo Star from your deck through some crazy effect, and then you are in fact adding from the grave to your hand. Now we got another finger. We are no longer having a finger on our Ash, so it is activatable unless we finger the Ash again. And the Regain's going to be reborning the Magnahut, at least attempting to do so, as the Call by the Grave fingers the Magnahut. Banish away, we could then regain potentially, draw into a hand trap. Yes, return it back, get ready to draw into that. Our whole deck's hand traps. Nibiru, there you go. Get ready to Nibiru it up as we Snake Eye Doom Dragon push away the Engraver into the back row. Druiswarm within the battle phase, banish away. We take out Druiswarm, it will send the other monster to the graveyard. Say goodbye to that Senjin. This is White Force deck. We're kind of getting cooked here. We have no plays. We can't brute force through all these hand traps. Now, that's very important. Getting rid of the Regained as soon as possible, as it's drawing a card every single turn. And if your entire deck is 1-for-1ing with hand traps, but then you're +1ing every turn with Regained, you just win. That's how you just grind your opponent to death. And let's now go into a Dark in main phase 2. Trigger Steam the Cloak to summon a token, steal your Dark monster. Your Little Knight is now mine. If Little Knight banishes and then comes back in the field, whose field does it go to? It goes to your own, even though it's the opponent's Little Knight. It will banish to their banishment. And we're going to be also getting rid of the Wedju Temple and drawing a card. Even more plussing. What the plus is going on here? Nuts. Yeah, let's scoop. Start this off with a Pressure Planet, Kashtira Field Spell, grabbing a Fenrir from the deck here. On its summon in the open game state, we're going to search our deck for the tier limit Kashtira. Ready to mill 3 cards off the top of our deck as we search for Engraver to discard Lurie. Let's speed this up. Lurie Reborn. With that, we finally now end our turn with how many forms of Super Poly? Holy moly. From Engrave, we have no forms of disruption. Now, before the Super Poly, we have the untargetable Desiree, which can negate up to 2 cards on the field. We have Triple Monster Negate on the Apollo USA. We have Masquerade, which could go into a double banish play. And then we have the Root Callus to negate a special summon, and an Ash Blossom negate an interaction with the deck. That's 8 disruptions, but with Super Poly, how many of those disruptions will now cease to exist? We lost 1, so we still have 7. Still, 1 Super Poly, 1 disruption. Not that crazy. Burn for 1,200 damage. Still at 7 disrupt. We may as well just scoop, no? We got Barrier of the Voiceless, Ash Blossom, negate, just like that, mate. 3, 4, 5, 6 on the field. Triple Monster negate, double banish, and a special summon negate. Apollo USA, negate. Herald of Orange Light, negate. The negate. Masquerade is going to link away the Apollo, and now we are going to be left with 3 disruptions left. Little Knight on summon will be able to banish, but what are we banishing if we can't target light monsters? We can't target the low, so we're going to have to banish away the barrier. Low setting up into the back row. I got double barrier. Okay, you banished one of them. Good deal. We're going to take out that Little Knight. We're now down to just Root Callus with the ability to negate a special summon effect. Typhon is here, which ensures that we probably just lose the whole duel. As we spin away the Root Callus, that's great. But we do have the Engraver to follow up and make plays. We also, main phase 1 skipped because we reborned with Dugars to make a Masquerena, which doesn't make sense. We took 2 bodies to make 1 body, to reborn a body, to then make 1 body, which we could have just went straight into that body, but we skipped our main phase the next turn, which we thought maybe we'd just win the duel with our 7 disruption field, but we didn't. We're now in main phase 2. No battle phase. We think we still win. It's not a big deal, right? We're going to go into a Requiem, jump off someone for the deck, Engraver. Sharon is going to discard Fuelos, mill 3, not so good on the mill. Equip the Requiem. Requiem is going to send the Sharon, leaving the Typhon to fuse into a Kick Cow. As long as we're not 3,000 attack or more, we could still activate. Grabbing a Sharon from the deck, we're going to Kick Cow, send herself, reborn the Rhino Heart, triggering both effects to mill 5 and send from the deck a Havness to fuse into a Root Callus again, sure. Further going into a sequence, which could activate while you have Typhon, since it's not 3,000 attack or more. Going into a Lacrima on summon. Gonna reborn the Desiree. As we now go into a Moon of the Closed Heaven, triggering the Desiree to get rid of the Typhon. Or the barrier. Even better, I would say. Interesting. The Root Cow can't activate because it's more than 3,000, as the Typhon is stopping it. What else do we have? We have Veiler off the top of our deck, which is not a playmaker. Battle phase. Fairy Tale Snow got in the grave somehow. I think randomly milled off of the Kick Kalos as we banish 7 on summon, flip face down the Typhon. To everyone's shock, Typhon loses another duel. It's just not good enough for some reason. We're going to engrave or return back Desiree, reborn itself back on the field, wipe away the Typhon, and just like that, lethal with the snow. Let's hop into game number 2. Nicely done. This is a very interesting version of Tier Limit. I'm going to have to pick this deck up. This is something. Barrier of the Voiceless, starting off with a Saphira ad from the deck here. We do have Maxi and Fuelos. Now, Fuelos against Voiceless is not that good. They do a lot of summoning from the hand when they actually have plays, which we had absolutely nothing. Dead, Hollowed Azamina. We don't have enough levels to summon our Skull Guardian. We need 7 levels, and we have 6. 3 and 3, Ogre and Ash, which will be used as forms of disruption here. We're going to use Ogre to destroy the Keknights. Now, it will mill 5, but it will not be able to summon a tier limit onto the field. We do stop them from that play at least. Let's add a Sharon and then go with the mill 5. Well, we were ready to Ash Blossom negate that mill 5. Now, you may be thinking, why not? I'm not for or against the Ogre, but if I were to defend it, the reason to Ogre it not only stops a special summon, but it also stops a chain link block. We know that a chain link block would very obviously be happening if we were to summon a Rhino Heart or a tier limit Kashtira by putting the Kick Cow in the lower chain link as the tier Cash or Rhino Heart activates his chain link 2 or higher, you would then not be able to Ash the Kick Cow. So if you really want to stop that mill 5, that was the way. We're going to send the Snow, mill 3, battle phase 1800. I mean, if that's all we're really doing after an Ogre Ash, then maybe that was actually good. Banishing, more than half of our hand is now gone. What the? Into Dugarsh, draw 2. What the YOLO play is this? Draw 2, discard Lurie, and that does trigger the Lurie. It does specifically state it was discarded. Going into a Requiem jumping off into an Engraver from the deck. We banished away our Kick Cow. So can we really even question that Ogre Ash play if it got them to do this? That's something. We are going to return the Lurie, go into the Engraver. We need to have Beatrice. We can't go into Ricalos because our Mad Lad is gone. Kick Cow is gone until I guess we have to get the Crime Engraver if we even play that. Maybe we don't. We have Tracked, adding Lurie to, again, you're not hard once per turn. Discarded twice in the same turn. What the? Tier Cash banished from the grave to come forth and mill 3. Hopefully getting lucky on this mill. We did not. Our mills have been absolutely horrid as we now go into a sequence. Sequence is going to be fusing 3 bodies in grave to come forth and summon our Desiree. Now, ideally, we have a way to get the sequence engraved before equipping it onto the Desiree. We're going to go into a Lacrima, which will reborn the Desiree back onto the field, and then the sequence will equip onto it, giving it the ability to negate cards in the field. As we now go into a Little Knight summon on summon, banishing away that Barrier of the Voiceless. Now, what are our forms of disrupt here? We can, while we are untargetable, we can non-target negate up to 2 cards in the field. We could banish away a monster. We could finger a low engrave, and then Beatrice could send from the deck a way to fuse, which will, is that even a form of disruption? Because we can't go into Kick Cow into Draxostapelia, we can't go into Kick Cow into a Rukalos. So I'm not really sure if that's actually going to be a disrupt, but we do have the Fairy Tale Snow at least, for at least 4 to maybe 5 disruption. Call with the Grave, fingering that Saphira right away. You are negated. We have Barrier of the Voiceless on activation. I'm assuming we'll negate with the Desiree. Of course we do. Negate. We have Little Knight, Fairy Tale Snow, and Beatrice play. I'd be interested to see, what am I not seeing with Beatrice? We do not have Kick Cow. What can we really do? Like a Garura playing or something? Yeah, it's not going to be, you can't Rukal. Can't go into a Kaleido. We're going to go into a Rasaligo with the Hollowed Azamina. Azamina Voiceless is interesting. As Little Knight banishes away the Rasaligo, we are left with our in-grave Fairy Tale Snow with 9 cards in grave. Grabbing a Diablo Star from the deck with that Wanted Seeker. Wanted Seeker, randomly draw a card here. Army of Me, I'm interested in your D. We got the triple tactics talent trying to take control of the Desiree, as the Beatrice will now send from the deck to the grave a Rhino Heart, and we don't have a tier in hand to even trigger it. So, okay. Taking control of Beatrice and not the Desiree. We're going to go into a Cross Sheep. Now, why do we do that? The Desiree states if this card sent to the graveyard for the Cross Sheep, as you would see in this play, it would then send the Cross Sheep to the graveyard, and we did not want that to happen. We're going to use the Hollowed Azamina, return the Alzette back in the deck to add back from the grave to our hand, to then send the Barrier to summon Diablo Star to set up a Sinful Deception, likely to then send with our Hollowed Azamina. Yep, that is exactly what we are doing. send the Deception with the Hollowed Fairy Tale Snow. Is going to summon and flip down the newly summoned Fusion, yes? We don't know what's coming out until the resolution. Do we then reveal the Sylvia? Sylvia is here. On summon, we're going to trigger the Snow on the higher chain link, which the Sylvia could negate if we want, or just stay on the field. And I mean, so a monster special summoned, apply the effect on resolution that this points to. It's now not pointing to a fusion because it's face down. So it summoned nothing. That was good. That was great. Stop the cross sheep, mate. We did it. That was a play. We did it. Sprite Elf is going to reborn the cross sheep, but we can't link off with the Sprite Elf, but we could make a gigantic Sprite. What is your deck, man? What is this? Gigantic Sprite, summon a Diviner from the deck to send a Mudora. Mudora the Explorer in grave, ready to shuffle away the Fairy Tale Snow or any other tier limit play. Little Knight on summon, banishing away the sequence because we cannot target the Desiree. Little Knight coming back onto the field here. Now, in order for the Desiree to be usable, to be able to negate, we could go into a Requiem, then Requiem equip onto the Desiree. Engraver is going to return back the Lacrima, and the Mudora is going to say no. No to the Engraver play as we shuffle away the Fairy Tale Snow and the Engraver back into the deck. We're going to chain Little Knight to banish the Sylvia on field until the end phase. Now, what do we do from here? We're going to link off Desiree into the Requiem, which we could trigger the Desiree if we had another Light Fiend Engrave, which we do not have. Requiem summon for the deck, the Engraver. Requiem equip onto the Engraver to then send the Rasala Go to the grave. Then end our turn. As Little Knight comes back during the end phase, returning Sylvia back on field, ready to negate. Unfortunately, the Trias is not a play. The Sylvia is big enough to take out the Little Knight without even activating. We do have within main phase 2, Holodeck Amina, adding back to our hand, but with no Sinful Spoils to send to the grave, we have no play. We have negate by sending ourselves to the graveyard as the Requiem equips onto the Engraver. We can negate, but we're not negating. That's it. Okay, sure. We just don't equip back. Not that big of a deal. But if we add a Kashtira from the deck, we don't have tier cash. Oh, we can't summon Mill 3 because it's banished. Yep, that's a problem. Tier cash is nowhere to be seen as our only copy is banished. Off the top of the deck, a Max C. We need something. We got to get Engraver engraved. There you go. We can now add Fenrir, discard Fenrir, Mill 3, Engraver equip onto with the Requiem as we are now getting hit by a Max C. 3,700 damage. We only have to deal 25, then Lacrima burn for 1,200. So, I mean, we have more than enough of lethal without the Lacrima. So just like that, lethal damage. Nicely done. Good job to both players. A 2-0 victory in favor of Tearlament. Crazy Tearlament deck. That early banish of the Kekkalos, I think should have led to us losing, but it didn't. That's crazy. We're going to use the Millennium Shield, equipping ourselves into the back row, revealing the Ankh to summon itself onto the field, searching for another Ankh. That's clearly, you don't Ash this. Now, you may want to consider not revealing the Ankh, paying 2,000, and they'd be more likely to Ash the effect, thinking you're searching an Ankh, which you are, but you already have another Ankh, so you don't care if they negate it. But that's assuming you care about another effect getting Ashed, and we have nothing else that's even Ashable, so not even an issue. Reveal 5 to summon the Unstoppable Exodia, which will negate any spell or trap, which will actually negate nothing because the anti-spell will ensure that it can't be activated anyway. Now that's not it. In addition to it negating a spell or trap card, also not being destroyable by card effect, and becoming 8,000 attack in the damage step, we do have Fires of Rage, which will very simply destroy all cards your opponent controls whenever you want, and Imperm negate and Ash negate in interaction with the deck. That's a lot. Yep, can't activate any of your spells. Summon the Cloud Dragon, Imperm negate the Cloud Dragon before it jumps off the field to summon for the deck, which Ash would negate anyway. We're gonna jump just so the Druiswarm could banish it. Druiswarm can send the Unstoppable Exodia to the graveyard to then summon another one with the other Millennium Ankh. it doesn't really matter. We're going to set another card during the end phase, Fires of the Rage, to double wipe the field. Only usable once per turn, though, so it is balanced, right? Heart of the Blue Eyes, searching for another copy of an Ankh, which I already revealed I have in hand, so you're ashing nothing. This is... I think we're just giving up. Yeah, what else can we do? We're essentially, this duel is pretty much over, right? We set the Ankh. I would think maybe we'd want... Ooh, we're swinging in. 4,500 damage to then send the Exodia to the graveyard here. The newly drawn 7 Tachyon, of course, not activatable. Star Liege Seyfert, attempting to search our deck for a Cloud Dragon, which would trigger to then summon on the field, to then summon a Primal from the deck. All of that gets negated. End our turn. Back to you. And now let's get Ankin. With the Ankh, can't bell it, can't ash it, can't nothing it. We forgot to set it. That's what happened, right? We should have set it because of our anti-spell fragrance. Thus, it was not activatable. Let's start this off with Lubellion Search. Lubellion searching for nothing as the Ash negates. That's okay. I already have a few Bestials in our hand. But what's unfortunate is we do not want to banish our Lubellion. So we're simply passing. Got DD Crow, Ash, double Bestial. Ash is going to be our only real form of disruption here, as the Shield of Millennium will get negated by Ash, but then the Senjin will still search for the Ankh anyway. Konami made this deck to be incredibly resilient to Ash Blossom. You have so many effects you could Ash, but then all the effects are leading to searching for the Millennium Ankh anyway. We're going to banish away the Heart of Blue Eyes, which does not stop the effect. It just does not get to now send a monster that's level 8 or 3,000 or more when on summon. DD Crow is going to be... Ooh, this is a play. This ensures that we will banish the Exodia. But we could just battle phase attack, then summon Exodia main phase 2. So the idea almost worked. Not really, though. Yep. Okay. That's something. I think you have to wait for the Millennium Ankh activation. They activate Millennium Ankh. You summon the Baldrake and the Jerusalem on Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3. Hit the field, Baldrake's there to witness the summon, then it's summon, on summon, banish the Exodia, and then we have a good time, right? But preempting it, we are susceptible to Engraver sending our monster to the grave. We're susceptible to the battle phase. We're susceptible to the Doom Dragon pushing us into the back row. That's at least 3 different ways to stop our Baldrake play if we summon early. Moon in the Close Heaven needs to get banned. That would be interesting now, wouldn't it? And speaking of Doom Dragon, pushing into the back row, the Druid Swarm. Let's now do note that the Millennium Ankh is balanced in the way that it returns all monsters you control back into the deck. So we can't end the field with some Desiree or Caesar and then add an Exodia on top of it. So we are going to be searching for the Tract here. Tract, search our deck for the Lurie. That's why the Silahat Rabbit is really good to be playing, which we are in fact playing, because the Silahat Rabbit is disruption through the trap it sets, and not really as much as disruption through the card itself. So knowing that our card is going to be gone soon, we're going to Little Knight, banish away the Lubellion, then I think we'll turn this into a Silahat Rabbit play. Burn for 1,200. Get ready to Rabbit, not quite yet, as we reborn the Engraver. Now we go into the Rabbit on summon, set up the trap, and then we can return our whole field back into our extra deck as we summon our unstoppable Exodia. Sorry, I skipped the cutscene there. Now, what are our forms of disruption? Negate a spell or trap, wipe out the entire field, negate a monster, negate a summon, 4 disruption plus a max C. And we have a Spiral of Destruction, which only works with Tachyon cards, and we have no other Tachyon cards. Okay. Can we please wipe the field in the end phase? Come on, man, just wipe it. I know the Jerusalem would send you, but who cares? Burn, we're now going to be at 3,000 attack. Man, like Exodia, I think should say that while on the field, it could be the only monster you could declare an attack with, to at least give the opponent a bigger chance of a comeback. Going first with our normal summon, Refrain, searching for a Sonata. As the Droll and Lockbird is going to further disallow you from adding cards in the deck to the hand. That affects both players, but we're going to call by the grave. finger the Droll, because I'm not done adding, mate. Now, it's worth noting here the area. Only while this card is special summoned, Melodious monsters cannot be targeted by card effects nor be destroyed by battle. It can still be destroyed by card effects, and the Atoli is the big play. You can return, I should say banish up to 3 of our Melodious cards to then return up to 3 cards the opponent controls back to the hand. Crazy effect. So in addition to that, we do have Ash and then a Called By. Called By against an Orcus deck, I would consider this as a form of disruption, so triple disrupt that we have to play through. You did not play around the Keknight, which is only summonable if 2 cards are in the same column. We actually could not have played around it. Yeah, that is something. We're going to use the Keknight purple to search our deck as the Ash Blossom says, no, I will negate. Now, could we have Atoli spun back in response to it activating, and then it would have not searched? So there's 2 things I would want to know. Is it a hard once return on its summon? Is it a hard once return on its activation of the effect? And does returning it back stop the search? If we look into the card, we can figure that all out. So special summoning only once per turn this way. That would be not resummoned if you returned it back. And then hard once return on its effect to search. You target a Keknight, you banish it, and if you do, which we would not if it was returned back to the hand, you would then not. So this would in fact stop it. I'm not saying we should have done that, but it's good to know that it does stop it. Gursu activates on summon, not in an open game state, so spinning it back would not have stopped it. We're gonna Atoli banish 2 to then return them back onto the field here into a wham bam thank you ma'am lethal damage, yes. Couplet attempting to be negated by the Ash Blossom as the Call by the Grave coming in hot, fingering the Ash, negate into a scoop. Melodious. Get Melodious in. Refrain on summon, searching for the couplet. Couplet unfortunately not triggering here. We're going to couplet activate to search our deck for the Concerto, which the Ash attempts to negate as we finger the Ash mate. Negate. We did not want to droll, but we will be drolling now because, yep, sure. We didn't droll the couplet, which would have been fingered. Then we could have ashed the couplet searching for the Concerto. I think we don't want to be under droll because of the Fua loss. That's the main reason why we're holding off on the droll, as we are now going to get Fua loss in. Draw per summon from the extra deck or deck. So the Botcha is attempting to summon for the deck, which so far is a draw for its initial summon. And then draw again from the deck. And then if we go into a Bloom, that would be a 3rd draw. And then Bloom would summon from the deck. And then we would want to at least go into an Atoli. We're talking about up to 5 draws through Fua loss, which now under Max C would be 10. We're going to give them 10 draws? I don't think so. We're going to end after summoning an area. Area making us untargetable, and we cannot be destroyed by battle. We're going to hit them back with a Max C, but we could droll the Max C. Do we do so right now? In response to the Diablo Star, or I should say in response to the Imperm, do we then droll? Yes, we do. Droll, negate the effect of the Max C. Got him. Now we can follow up with Deception plus the Hallowed Asmina. While we can't search for the Hallowed Asmina, we already have it in hand. So perfect. Send the Deception. Summon the Sylvia. Rosala Go cannot search, so we go straight into the Sylvia. Oh, can't be destroyed by battle, as she states. And we also can't target you. So we're going to target instead the back row Concerto, Searcher that is. So goodbye to Couplet. As what do we have here? The World's Legacy Secret. Is this dead? You activate this to target a level 5 or higher in your graveyard to then special summon it and then negate any monster effect in the same column as a Keknight, which we have nothing. But this reborns a Diablo Star? That's quite interesting. Okay. Cool. I don't think it's cool enough to be winning the duel, though. Say goodbye to the little knight. 2,500 to the face as we now bloom. Uh-oh. This is big combos. Discarding the dead Ostinato. Chainlink blocking with the Botcha to reborn the area back on field. Further chaining the Concerto to draw a card in addition to these big plays as we summon from the deck. Drawing into a Max C even. Arius is back, making sure to not summon it to one of the arrows. Now it's World Legacy. Return the Sylvia back on field, not the Diablo Star, since we'll have a form of a negate. The newly drawn Maxi being usable here. Thank you very much for that draw one. Soprano's going to activate to fuse, and Soprano's going to get negated by the Sylvia, which will then turn on our triple tactics talent. We're not under draw, so we could very easily draw 2 here. Come to me. Soprano's not a hard once per turn. It is soft though, and it being soft meaning another copy or the same copy that leaves the field and comes back onto the field will now be activatable to fuse into our Bacha. Bacha summon from the deck into a refrain. Refrain on summon, search for the couplet. Couplet on add, trigger to reborn from engrave another soprano. For the 3rd time, activate diffusion summon into our Itoli. This is all within main phase 2. Couplet in the back row, search our deck. Let's speed this up. Like, what are we even doing at this point? We have like 20 cards to them pretty much having nothing. Can now banish from their graveyard. Let's banish away. It's once while face up, so let's make it not face up and then return it to be face up to banish again. All right, Veiler off the top of the deck, late to the party, as we're just gonna spin it back before it goes into Typhon, right? 2-0 victory. Poplar on summon, searching for our original Sinful. As we now get Link Karibo in, triggering the Poplar to equip itself in the back row. When are we gonna get Fualasin or Maxian? Now! We're gonna Fualas, and then it's gonna get fingered, and then we're gonna chain Maxi, and then we're gonna get triple tactics talented into potentially just them ending their turn maybe. Oh boy, there you go. Put the worst hand trap out first. Hopefully it gets Ashter fingered. Fingered my Fualas, protected my C. Now, the situation here is we forgot to negate the Promethean. Well, the Promethean's only negated for the turn. It's until the end of the turn, and we didn't want to link off the Flameburge. So with this situation, I guess what we could do is we negate 2 cards on the field. Our card and their card. After negating our own Promethean and their card, then we could use Flameburst to Reborn Masquerena, go into a Little Knight for a double banish play. So we have negate plus double banish. And then, I don't know how we get the Promethean Engrave, so I would, well, we Masquerena with it, actually. So that would be Promethean Engrave, popping a card on special summon, or Disruption, but it's quite tricky with the Desiree. I have never really seen this situation where we have to negate our Promethean on their turn, plus their own card. That's pretty cool. The Desiree is also untargetable, and it's a non-target negate. Right now, negate Promethean, and the Golem, double negate, that's crazy. I'm very happy to see this. Aruha, pop the back row Millennium. It's perfect, it works. We're now going to Flameburst, summon the Masquerena, as we're no longer locked into Fire Monsters only, and we really want to get the Promethean Engraved through the Masquerena. Get it in, summon the Little Knight on summon, banish a card on the field or engrave. Target the Aruha. We're going to chain Shavara to dodge the banish, then Aruha will activate to not activate because it's not going to get destroyed because it's now getting banished. Now, does the Shavara still summon? Let's read that. Probably not, right? Destroy it if you do. We didn't, so we did not, so we don't summon. I guess we're going to get scooping. Off the field we go. We still have Promethean Engrave with no other play besides fingering her than scooping, right? You really got to finger her first before scooping? We'll end our turn. Okay. Maybe we don't scoop. If Aruha is destroyed, nope, not destroyed. We can still Shavara pop it. We don't have another card in hand. And the same thing freaking happened. Little Knight is stopping the Shavara from being summoned. Now, the second effect of Little Knight does not lock us out from attacking directly. We could still definitely do that. But we're definitely losing this turn. All right. At least we got to finger Promethean, though. You're going to Ash the effects in the back row, and then we're going to set and pass. Okay. Great. Wonderful. And Snitrox is on the Millennium Engine, too. Everyone is whipping out the Millenniums. And we did see some duels today where the minus 2,000 life was actually detrimental to the duel. Well, kind of. They're probably going to lose anyway. Imperm, negate. the Snake Eye Ash. We do have Droll and Lockbird as our leftover form of disruption here. Wedju Temple. Uh-oh, is this lethal? As we're going to summon Ascension, search for Ascension, Droll and Lockbird, and just like that, we are done. We're equipping the Ascension, summon the Doom Dragon, and I guess at 6,000 life we would have lost. They also have the Magna Hut for more damage. They have the Divine Temple to boost up the Ash. Damn. If we did not get Ash, we could have had something great. Begin. No Armpit, no buy. Understandable. Kotal's going to search our deck for our Gazelle of the King on summon. We're going to search our deck for an Evil Hero Sinister. I was going to say Sinister. Maxi, in response to that polymerization, we could potentially use Droll and Lockbird to turn off the Maxi if we want to further special summon, but then we can't add cards from our deck to our hand ourselves. As we go into a Baphomet, on summon, send from the deck to the grave, whatever we want, essentially. As the Gazelle also searches our deck for an illusion. So if we were to chain Droll and Lockbird to this chain, it would stop our own Gazelle. Definitely something we would not want to do. We already used up our normal summon, as the Mirror Sword Knight is not activatable in hand, but we could fuse it into the graveyard with our Chimera Fusion. Now, with this field, the Kotal's protecting our Baphomet from being targeted. And beyond that, we do have a Sword Knight already in graveyard anyway. So if a monster activates on field, we would be able to negate the Ariana, which I would say is a good negate. So Sword Knight negate, and then we have the Chimera Fusion, ideally popping cards at the end of the main phase after they set a bunch. We definitely want to take out the simultaneous equation cannons, which could very simply use the effect of banish all cards the opponent controls. That's something we do not want to pop off. And then Droll and Lockbird could stop them from further adding if they were to actually add with the Ariana, which will just negate. Negate the Ariana. No add for you, mate. Set 5? Oh, boy. Looking like a set 5 pass. Set 4. And if this pops the trap trick, we'll just set the other one in hand. That's the one card we don't want to pop. Why you pop the one card that did? Why? Oh my gosh, what the heck was that? How did that happen? It was a 25% chance? Really? That's insane. Summon a Baphomet within the end phase for a double search here. Now, Solemn Strike is actually a good card going second. I would argue better than Solemn Judgment. You set Solemn Judgment against an already established field, Solemn Judgment can't negate monster effects, but if you set Solemn Strike going second, obviously good while going first also, an already established field will get destroyed and negated by a Solemn Strike at least onto one of their monsters. If they were to have a Baron to floor, this wipes it off. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's happening? We're getting ready with that simultaneous equation cannon. When do we want to banish their entire field? We're going into a Requiem. Requiem's going to jump off, summon an Engraver from the deck. Engraver with Requiem can only send a monster to the grave, not a back row. We're going to flip up our Welcome Labyrinth, summon from the deck Our Lady Labyrinth. With Our Lady, we have to directly chain to one of our trap activations to set a trap from the deck, activating Polymerization to fuse into the Magnum Reliever. If a card is activated, we could chain to pop a card in the field. We're going to do exactly that, targeting the back row trap trick. We're going to chain simultaneous equation cannon. What the heck do we do here? We are able to, oh my Jesus. So if we count up everything, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to have to now equal that. What you do is you're going to be banishing 1 fusion and 2 Xyz with the same rank from your extra deck, whose combined level and ranks equal the number of cards in both players' hands and on the field. So a good way to potentially counter this is to change the equation. They need 11. If we could use Forbidden Droplet, we could turn it into 10. Is that good enough? We could even use Chimera Fusion to super change the equation. If we could Chimera Fusion chain Droplet. So the Chimera Fusion will be gone, a bunch of monsters will be gone. This may fizzle and not banish the entire field. You didn't even chain, you let them Lady? I guess we could chain Droplet to it now, at least, right? Droplet, send. Lady's also changing the equation to 12, which is now back to 11 because you got rid of Engraver. Trap Trick is now changing it back to 12. If you see that they really want it to be 12, shouldn't we Chimera Fusion to make it not 12? I don't know. I'm gonna make it 12. No, you're not. Yes, I am. Negate and get ready to banish the entire field, mate. What did we banish? 3, what was this? 3 and a 3 and a 4, 5. So there you go. Wait, 5? We actually made it 11. 6 plus 5, banish the entire field. And then we have to return them back to equal a monster on the field, which was the Magnum Reliever. Got him? Yeah, it was 11. So it could have been 10 or less than 10. Solemn Strike. Striking the Sword Knight, negating the effect to summon from the deck. Not today. Now come forth and summon our Nightmare Apprentice, grabbing the Codal from our deck here. Codal's going to be sent to the graveyard to search for our Gazelle. We're going to follow up with Chimera Fusion. Instead of trying to get lucky and mess up their equation, let's just knowingly make plays after fully getting banished. Come forth, Guardian Chimera, or not Guardian Chimera, the regular Chimera, which would randomly discard a card from the opponent's hand during the end phase, but there's no card to be discarded anyway. Get swinging, set up with the Chimera Fusion within main phase 2, but first, Little Knight, banish the big welcome away. We survived the simultaneous equation cannon. Solemn Strike off the top of the deck here within the end phase. We're going to use the Chimera Phantom Beast to summon a Guardian Chimera, and just like that, lethal damage on the very next turn, taking this into game number 2. How can you mess up set 4 pass? That was great, man. You did that perfectly. We have Sword Knight jumping off the field to come forth and summon from the deck a beast, as we're now going to Gozen match it up. So how the Gozen match works is you are locking them into the attribute that's already on the field. So if you were to, let's say, flip this up preemptively in the draw phase, they then summon the Sword Knight. The Sword Knight would have to be able to summon a light monster from the deck to then actually change it to be a non-light monster. And if you don't have a valid light monster in the deck, then you can't even activate the Sword Knight. It would have been stuck on the field. So I guess potentially knowing that we're playing against Chimera and they could shotgun normal summon a quick effect monster that could change the activation of Gozen match, thus we would want to activate it early. That could have maybe been considered the first potential misplay here. And now being able to chain Chimera Fusion to the Gozen match, even more of an issue that the Gozen, right? Yeah, we're talking this should have been flipped up in the draw phase. Is that what you're saying that we messed up here? Now, thankfully, the Guardian Chimera is targetable because there's no polymerization in Grave, where otherwise you could not target it with the impermanence. Yeah, we light into earthed, we earthed into dark, and Gozen should have stopped all of that. Imperm, negate. We do have Big Welcome. We do have Daruma, which could flip the entire opposing field face down. The problem with flipping down the opponent's field is, what if they're a fusion summon deck that could still make plays with their face down monsters? Gonna grab a Codal from the deck, Big Welcome Labyrinth into the lady, return back the lady. We could then summon the lady, then activate the Daruma. Whew, they could just polymerization right through this. As I said, our face down monsters can be fused with. Could set a trap from the deck here, and let's get to it. Flipped face down. And now we're going to use the Sinister Necrom to summon for the deck a light. We're abiding by the rules here. You flipped our dark monsters, so now we could go into the light monsters, which is Fiendsmith. Huh. And the lady, if face up, would have been untargetable. We're going to equip the Requiem, send the lady to the grave. Codal is going to be searching our deck. Of course, the summon has already been used. The battle we go, 1800. I assume the polymerization is dead, as we have no light monster. We could actually, Magnum Reliever is a light, okay. Trap, Trick, banish a Welcome Labyrinth to set the Welcome Labyrinth. It is activatable to turn it's set. Come forth and summon from the deck our Arius. Arius Butler is gonna be jumping off the field to summon our lovely Labyrinth from our hand. We're gonna use Big Welcome to spin a card in the field, back off the field to then trigger the lovely to pop a card in the hand or on the field. Take out the Engraver, then main phase 2 Lovely Labyrinth, recycle an Engrave card. We're going to reuse our Trap Trick. Trap Trick reused, so the Welcome Labyrinth cannot be banished with the Trap Trick. We could banish a Welcome Labyrinth to then set our third and final copy. This card is not limited, right? Yep. Okay. Engraver is about to attempt to deal with the Lovely by summoning a Requiem to then summon another Engraver from the deck if we still have one, which we do. And this is where we may want to stop this play. We don't want Lovely to get stopped, right? We're going to imperm negate. Negate the Engraver. It's worth noting we're locked into light monsters only on field. So Polymerization would have to poly into a light. We're going to Fright for Patchwork. We have not committed to a normal summon yet. Polymerization into the Edge Chain. We're going to get the Engraver off the field to no longer be locked into light monsters. This is a Guardian Chimera play. Non-target, pop a card in the field, and draw 2 cards. So we're going to Ice Dragon Prison. Does this work? The Ice Dragon Prison in response to an act, I mean, of course it's going to work. It's going to, wait, target a monster in the graveyard special summon it. It has to be a dark monster. And then we could banish a beast and a beast since it does not target the Chimera. Is there a dark beast in the grave? There's a Dark Fiend, that does not work. Dark Beast, Dark Beast. The Dark Beast we could have summoned, we returned back in the deck with our big welcome. So this is not going to do anything. Guardian Chimera, Baphomet. Edge Chain. We're going to grab the Apprentice just to grab her. Okay. You've been grabbed. You're on my field now. But I can't banish because she's an illusion and you're a beast. We're going to Guardian Chimera, pop the Lovely, in addition to that, draw 2. Sure. Us being locked in the dark's not a big deal. We have Solemn Strike here, which can be okay. Goes in with them being dark. Should Lovely had been, if Lovely were in defense, she would have been destroyed by battle by the Engraver. So maybe that was not an option here. Off the top of the deck, we have Ariana, very much what we wanted to see, which will then get negated by the Droplet. No search for thee. Arius will chain. 2U activating in response to our monster effect. Labyrinth card, that is. Reborning the Arius Butler. Now, we could Muckraker, discard a card from our hand that we don't have. To reborn our Lovely, to then recycle a trap. You know, we had to set the Solemn Strike, but had we not set it, we could have discarded to reborn the Lovely. We have Kodal searching our deck for the Sword Knight. We do have that open normal summon. As long as we're summoning a dark monster here, this is legal. Legally summoning into that little knight. Do we even care to banish the Gozen? We do, actually. Yes, even though we are making some decent plays under the effect of Gozen locking us into dark monsters only, we still want to get it out of here. Banish. And we didn't care to Solemn Strike because it got chain link blocked by the Edge Chain. Damn. That's nasty. Right? Was it chain link blocked? Wait, was Little Knight chain link blocked? Link Summon activate. We still did not negate. We could have Solemn Striked it if we wanted to. Possibly. Yeah. But maybe we just didn't care. We wanted to save the Solemn Strike for something else because I think we evaluated that they're still making good plays under the effect of Gozen. Not the Fiendsmith plays, of course, because they're light monsters, but the non-Fiendsmith plays have been enough for them. Yeah, unfortunate duel, 2-0. Let's hop into another match. Begin. Starting off with a branded regained, Sage on summon, searching for the Maiden of White. Maiden will be sending herself to set up into the back row the True Light, activating to equip into the back row our Majesty as we follow up with Wishes, discard a card, search for a Roar and another Maiden. Our forms of disruption are simply likely just negate an activation on the field. We then have Majesty pop a card in the field. So 2, double disrupt. We maybe Serenir should have sent a Baldrake instead of Lubellion, maybe. And then Regain could reborn the Baldrake, then tribute off the ultimate Blue Eyes after it already negated something to then be 3 disruption. But Lubellion is still really good in the graveyard for the next turn, if there even is a next turn, because Chris, I believe, looking at his hand, is about to pop the F off. This is going to be crazy Let's go. We're going to summon the Primeus, which is going to be reborn in the Serenir from Engraved. Primeus is activating to threaten the back row majesty of the White Dragons, as we're going to chain it to pop the Primeus on the field, get that fool out of here. It was activating to do exactly what? It was going to shuffle it back in the deck. I don't think so. We're now left with just the Blue-Eye Spirit Dragon, which will be one form of disruption unless it negates a card engraved. Draw 2 cards. We're not attempting to take control. Triple Tactics Thrust. We're going to add a card from our deck to our hand. And then whatever you add, we plan on negating it with the Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Come forth. We do have Change Heart, though. I think we try to change its heart, yes, and it's going to be forced to negate, because why not? Negate. And with that, we have nada, nothing, 0. Reasoning and Monster Gate are going to super pop off. Reasoning, you declare level 1. You mill your deck until you have a monster that could be summoned. And then if you declared the level correctly, it's sent to the grave. If not, it is summoned. As you see, Fairy Tale Snow on summon, flipping down the Ultimate Spirit. Now, guess what just happened here? I know you may not believe me. If the duel gets to the end phase, you will then believe it. We wiped away the spirit, destroying it in the end phase. You actually just protected it. Now we could flip it up next turn and it won't be destroyed. We're going to tribute off the snow, and which is not an issue if we just win this turn. We're going to be milling until we have a monster to summon. Slash draw? What? First turn kill? What? Antondel, Raigeki, Armadic. Let's speed this up. Decatron, there we go. Decatron is here. We're going to send from the deck to copy the effect of the Sedimus. I don't even know what that card does. You what, mate? We're going to be banishing from the grave to summon our Fairy Tale Snow on summon. Flip down the Serenir. Come forth, link off into an Artemis. As we further go into a Lina. Lina could steal a light monster from the opponent's graveyard, taking your Blue-Eye Spirit Dragon. I can now negate a card in grave that activates, but there's nothing to negate. As we go into a Celine Navida, with at least 3 spell cards in either player's field or graveyard, we can now reborn a spellcaster from engrave or summon from our hand. Reborning Fairy Tale Snow to go into the Zero Boros. No way, it's going to get boosted per banished card. Right now, it's at 5,000 attack. Couldn't we have done a lot more than that? What? Couldn't we? We're banishing the whole field now? I don't understand. I thought we would maybe, I don't know the math. 16 more cards banished would not have been lethal. 14 more cards, that is. We have Decatron activating to banish a card from the opponent's graveyard as the Zero Boros has been triggered to explode the entire field. Say goodbye to everything. Holy moly. Banish, Zero Boros is now back. Magnahut banishing from engrave. We're going to use the Black Oat Lash, declaring Magnahut to be illegal from summoning. You cannot summon Magnahut as it's now stuck in hand. Now back to you. At 7,400 damage, the Magnahut could block the attack though. Magnahut blocked the 7,400. Black Oat Lash states that Magnahut could not activate on field. Who cares, right? We're still blocking the attack. Not a problem. Banish blocked the attack, and now back to me. We need a play, a big play. That's a play. The Tracer can't pop another card in the field, though. That's actually a problem. So what do? It's going to pop itself to summon a Caliber. We're now going to use the effect of the Fairy Tale Snow to flip face down that Caliber. Not today. On summon, flip that full down. And now Snow Kid wipe it out, and then 9,200 for our direct attack. Just like that, say goodbye to the Caliber with nothing in grave activatable to summon and block this attack. 9,200 lethal. Chris for over 9,000. Slash draw in hand. You what, mate? We're going to Bestial Rebellion, searching for our Magnahut. The opponent, of course, has no hand traps because we are a turn 2 deck. You see, Tenpai is not the only option for going second. You could copy Chris's deck and maybe only want to copy it if we win this match. Let's speed this up. Now, the Infernoid monsters are fire, but the Bestial could banish the Fairy Tale Snow, which we very much know that they use and abuse. Beyond the Bestial banishing the Fairy Tale Snow, You have the Dissipator, which can negate or destroy a monster. Little Knight Chain, banish a monster. Boarload, negate anything. Borlen, negate a monster on the field. And beyond that, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects and cannot be targeted by monster effects. So what is good with this Quadra Disruption? We have the BEDragon also being able to banish an extra deck monster. So I would say 5 Disruption. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 if you count its banish as a form of disruption. Slash Draw, sending a bunch of cards from the deck to the graveyard here. Very nice. And then we're going to return the spells and grave back into the deck. It looks like the entire grave back in the deck. Get Slash Drawing. Black Goat Laughs is going to declare the name Boarload to be illegal, so it's no longer a form of disruption. Say goodbye to the Little Knight, so now we're down to triple disruption, as the Borlen could not be destroyed by that lightning strike. Now, the Widow Anchor can target the Borlen. It only cannot be targeted by monster effects. Target the and take control of it. Thank you very much. You are negated, though. Now we have Dissipator and BEDragon as our only forms of disrupt. We are doing a big reasoning. We did declare the level 1, and this is where Fairy Tale Snow gets summoned, right? There we go. Fairy Tale Snow just in time on summon. We're going to regain Chainlink block the snow from being negated or destroyed as the Dissipator gets flipped face down as we resummon our Durastorm from Engrave. Now, we did draw into an Ash Blossom, so we have Ash plus BEDragon banish, and then Durastorm, when sent to the grave, could send another monster on the field to the grave. That's kind of another form of disruption, so I would say 3. We have Ash negate the monster gate, which was huge, but then what's even more huge is the Devity. Devity states, if they Ash, you negate. I don't think so, mate. Negate the Ash as we now mill from our deck until we have a monster that can be normal summoned. Nope. Nope. Keep on milling. Mill, mill, mill. Ananku cannot be normaled. Decatron can be. Sage to our hand. We are now going to be... How do we even get BEDragon on the field if we choose to banish the Fairy Tale Snow? We can't. So you have to actually banish our own card. I know it sounds crazy, but that would be the only way to actually banish an extra deck monster summon. Because if you try to banish the Fairy Tale Snow, she's going to just chain banish to then summon again outside of being banished. We're going to be summoning the Devity. We're going to use Hida to reborn the opponent's Ash. Further going into a Promethean Princess. All under max C, by the way. 37 cards left in our deck. We're not even close to decking out. Reborn the Decatron. Decatron's going to copy the effect of it does not matter because we're just going to link it off into the Infernoid Flood. Just like that, we're at 82% win rate. According to Konami's analytics, we're going to use Fairy Tale Snow to banish 7 cards from a grave to come forth and summon. As we are now going to be triggering the Flood to banish away the Druid Swarm, say goodbye to you. As we now go into Lina. Lina is going to steal a light monster from the opponent's graveyard, and we're not going to even try to BEDragon it. I feel like maybe that was the play that we should have done, possibly, right then and there. We're now going to Celine Navidad with the ability to reborn the Fairy Tale Snow for free without having to banish from our grave. Fairy Tale Snow is going to be linked off into an Artemis as we further turn this into an Access Code Talker with over 8,000 damage on the field after it resolves to boost, wipe away the Dissipator, then BEDragon could block a lethal attack, right? This was perfect by actually just waiting. We also have Nibiru to tribute the entire field here, but the Devity will be able to negate the Nibiru. Not today. Uh-oh. No longer lethal on field, 7150, but we could just resummon it back on the field. BEDragon is going to reduce the damage again, but only to 82, so we still have enough damage for lethal. Chris Noid with the lethal damage play, continually recycling the non-hard once per turn effect of the Devity. Holy moly, that was insane. Taking the Max Seed challenge and all. Unbelievable. Very well done. I love it. Infernoid is the way. And I know many people are screeching that Fairy Tale Snow should get banned, but damn, that was great. After that immensely epic Infernoid duel, that was the end of the top 16, as we're now going to be starting the top 8 with Infernoid, so make sure you check out the very next video on the next day being uploaded as we start off with Infernoid versus the best deck in the game, Snake Eye Fiendsmith. I'll see you then. Let's go.